Hello everyone and welcome back to another recording of mine. Today we will be looking at the Cisco CCNA and focusing on the Cisco ASA firewall. So the CCNA security focuses more on the routing and switching security as well as ASA security, VPN technologies, normal firewall technologies, IPS and endpoint security concepts. So you can go onto the Cisco Learning Network site and you can actually see what the exam actually entails, and you can see the details if you just click on there. So there's a lot of common identity security terms and terminology that you're going to learn throughout the CCNA security, but today we're just going to focus on the ASA itself. Now, I know that it is a little bit difficult to simulate some of these devices, but luckily Cisco has made available the viral labs, which you can purchase. This is basically an image that contains pretty much everything that you need. The Cisco CSR 1000V, including the ASA virtual, iOS virtuals, iOS layer 2 virtuals, which are your switches and so on. You can take these images, then either use it like the normal viral lab is intended, or you can separate the images and actually build it onto GNS, which is also a virtualization platform. If you need anything on there, you can also download, just register, create an account and do the free download, and there's also nice little videos that explain everything to you. Should you have any difficulty, the documentation of GNS is really good. You can actually go and say ASA and everything just pops up. There's how-to guides. They tell you exactly ASA 8 is not supported. This is the firmware version, or not firmware version. It's the software version 8 which is not supported. So mainly they use ASA-V, which is the virtualized ASA image. So once again, here are videos from David Bombal that actually explain exactly how everything works on GNS. So you are more than welcome to follow these videos. You can even go onto his YouTube channel and just have a look there. There's loads of GNS content there. Another one is Cisco Packet Tracer. Now this is for free. You don't need to pay for anything. You simply just Google Cisco Packet Tracer and it's the first link that comes up. You go onto the website and you basically just register, create yourself an account. You'll be logging in and downloading the Cisco Packet Tracer, and from there it basically looks like this. So what they've done is they've created a smaller image under the 5505. If you have a look here, there's a 5506 and a 5505. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. It is a little bit small. However, there are also pre-built samples that come with the Cisco Packet Tracer. So if you want to go into ASA, these are already the pre-built labs and practices that you can use. If you feel that this is not good enough, you can always just build your own as well. So let's have a quick look at the image itself. This does not have the ASDM, which is the graphical management interface to my knowledge. It only works on the CLI. So let's have a look at the CLI, and we'll also have a look at the difference between the ASA CLI and the iOS normal Cisco CLI. There's not much of a difference. So for instance, you'll be prompted to log in, which is just enable, and there will be an enable password, which is usually blank, unless you've specifically set it already. So from here, the first difference that I want to show you guys is if you do show IP interface brief, this will not work on the ASA. However, just switch it around and it will work. Show interface IP brief, and you can already see that your interfaces are up. Another cool command that does come with the ASA code is show IP address. This shows all the addresses assigned to the interfaces and your VLANs. But everything else is still there. Your show NAT is there. Show on the ASA, it's not show IP root, it is show root. So for instance, you can just say show root and you'll get all of your routing information already there. So pretty much as well, if you want to go into configuration terminal, it is as simple as just saying config terminal, and also tab works and question mark works as well. Same as iOS. There are very small differences between ASA and iOS. They've actually done a really good job when Cisco acquired the firewalling company that originally created the ASA back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Later on, Cisco has done a really good job of integrating the ASA code into what the iOS is, so that there's not too many differences for people to actually learn ASAs. So yeah, this is pretty much it. The other nice thing is that when you are in configuration terminal or you are inside the interface configuration, you do not have to say do show run or do show interface. You can merely go and say show interface. And as you can see, you don't need to say do. I think this helps a little bit more, especially when you're quick to troubleshoot something. You don't have to do say do show run. You can merely just say show running config and it will pop up. It doesn't accept the do commands. So let's have a look at the ASDM. I've got an ASA firewall here. So when you launch into ASDM, you'll be presented with this login screen. Basically, it will ask you for your username and password, and it will load this home screen basically. So ASDM is not really popular amongst engineers. The reason for this is that it runs on Java, and Java is very unstable. Every time it does an update, something tends to break and ASDM doesn't want to launch. So a lot of people and engineers have just decided instead of faffing around with the graphical interface, they just run it on CLI. So if you do get it to run stable and not update your Java or try and break anything, this is basically what you get presented with. Basic logging here at the bottom, you can see exactly what is happening. Here at the top, you have your configuration. Now with a graphical set that you have here, you can actually do quite a bit because there are wizards that can help you with configuration. So let's have a look at your Acl Access Rules. So there's no configuration on this firewall yet. As I go through the videos, I'll create a little bit more configuration and I'll show you the guys between the difference between ASDM and doing it on the CLI. There are certain things that just work a little bit better on ASDM if you want a nice little graphical way of seeing things and how it works. Otherwise, CLI is fine. So for instance, what I do like about the ASDM is building VPNs, especially site-to-site VPNs or even remote access VPNs. So you get these VPN wizards here. So as you can see, there's the site-to-site, AnyConnect, clientless, and you can set up the IKV1, IKV2, which is the Internet Key Exchange version 1 and 2. IPsec tunnels that you can build. So let's have a look at the site-to-site VPN tunnel because it's the most basic one. So here is a video how to set up a VPN connection. So ASDM really actually tries and help you if you aren't comfortable with the command line. They actually really guide you step by step on how to set up a VPN. And I think for people that aren't experienced with ASAs or VPNs or anything of such sorts, the graphical click next basically and just fill in the blanks helps them quite a bit. So you can see here, so peer device information, you can set up your peer IP address, you can say which interface the VPN will be built on. You can define your interesting traffic, everything, and it's just through next, and it will build the VPN tunnel for you. Another cool thing is that you get these tools, especially one called Packet Tracer. So Packet Tracer is used for troubleshooting. So let's say that you have traffic coming from a specific interface, leaving another interface, and we all know that we get sysadmins that love to blame the network for it. They love to blame the firewall for blocking traffic. So this is basically like it's a packet tracer, a packet simulator almost. So you can choose which interface the traffic is coming in on. You can set your TCP, UDP, ICMP, or just general IP traffic, your source, your destination, and the ports that it will be using. And then you can click start, and it will actually run through all of the root lookups, the access list lookups, the NAT lookups. It hits the firewall, it leaves the firewall, and it will actually show where the traffic is being dropped, whether it is being dropped or not, and it will tell you whether it's successful or unsuccessful. And if it is unsuccessful, it will tell you exactly where it is unsuccessful. Now this is possible on the CLI as well. I just like it sometimes with a graphical interface to show sysadmins nice little graphics that this is where their traffic is failing, and that 9 out of 10 times probably not even the firewall that's dropping their traffic. It's another server, which is, let's say you've got database servers that need to speak to each other, and you've got a client connecting to the server. A lot of times when it's new deployments, sysadmins have got configuration errors on their side, or everything is set up, but the Windows server or Linux server, which is running a host-based firewall, is not accepting incoming traffic on that specific port. So this graphical tool actually explains or shows them that when the traffic hits their server, the server is actually dropping it, or the VM host is dropping the incoming traffic. So not just to shift the blame, but this is actually a nice way to show everybody how the traffic is flowing and where the problems are. So that's one of the things. And then basically, as you'll see, your normal administration for remote access, site to site, and also device management is all shown here. I know that I'm going a little bit quickly through everything, but this is just a quick overview on what is everything. So if you want to build like NAT rules as well, everything is here already, and everything is these nice little graphical templates where you can just fill in the source and destination interfaces, your services that will be running on it. Everything is already predefined basically for you. If you really are having issues with an ASA and you're not quite comfortable with building VPNs or access lists or anything of such sorts, the ASDM is really a good place to start. There are also ways of how you can enable a preview example before the rules or the VPN configuration is applied to the firewall. You can actually see all of those commands before. So if you want to learn a new command or see what commands are going to be issued, it will give you this preview, and you can then later on go log on to the ASA and compare what is on the ASA and what was pushed down. So it's a cool tool. Let's have a look here. I'm going to bring up my buddy session here and actually open up a session to my ASA. Oh, my super secret passwords and usernames. No one will ever be able to guess them. Okay, so from here, I'm going to make this nice and big. Hopefully you guys can see. Show IP address, just a normal, just to show you guys again the command difference between iOS and ASA is not that much. There is a small difference, but there's really it's not that big of a deal. It's really easy just to learn the commands off by heart. So for instance, if you need to the packet tracer, which was the command line one, let's do the command line one, packet tracer, and you can actually, I'm going to question mark it through here, and we say input question mark, and we're going to say inside interface, and we'll go TCP, and we'll go, let's say 10.1.1.1, and we are looking for, let's say, HTTP, which is the source port, and the destination IP, let's just make it something random, and it's going to ask us for port, and we'll just say HTTP again, which is the destination port, and let's say detailed, and from here we can basically say enter. So it runs through the whole thing, and it can tell you exactly on phase one. So I don't have any configuration on here. The traffic is not going to go anywhere because this kind of traffic, or this source and destinations, they don't exist in any case. This is just to show you on a CLI what it actually looks like. So you have the phase one, which is your access list. So let's have a look back here at the packet tracer. So if you'll see here, phase one is root lookup and then access list lookup, which is right over here. So the traffic is failing over here. So let's have a look back here. So phase one, sub result is allowed. Then implicit rule. So on every firewall, it's got an implicit rule at the bottom of the rule base, which is usually a deny. So you get all of your information. This is more technical information, but here you get your input interface, which we specified as the input is the inside, and you'll have your input status, which is the status of the interface is up. The line status is also up, and the action is to drop the traffic because it hits the implicit deny rule, because there's no actual ACL that allows this traffic. So for instance, I do take it that most of the people that are watching this video does have a strong routing and switching background, but if you're not sure what the interface, the input status and the line status is, it is basically the same as show IP interface brief. No, show interface IP brief. Okay, it is the same as this. Basically, you have your interface is up, the line protocol up. So that's basically what it is, and you can see from there whether the traffic is going to move through it, which phase it fails, and all of that. And this is really good results to actually give to sysadmins so that they can go and troubleshoot their equipment and make sure that the services are restored as soon as possible. And whether it is a firewall issue or not, you can also then see whether the problem is with your equipment or someone else's equipment and where the traffic is dropping. Well guys, this was a very, very quick overview of Cisco ASAs and all of that. We'll get into more technical details later on, like how to build ACLs, how to assign an ACL to an interface, how interfaces work on the ASA, because there are quite a few details about the ASAs that is a little bit different to iOS security. It is also, for those going for the CCNA security, you'll need to learn how to do this on iOS as well. How to do layer 2 security, layer 3 security, and so on. So just a quick one as well with ASAs, ASA versus iOS in terms of security. ASA does deep packet inspection where iOS does not. ASA is a stateful firewall where iOS is not. So these are all terms that if you're not quite sure what these terms mean, by all means go ask Google. If not, drop a comment down below. I'll be happy to assist you guys. And I hope that this video has been informative for you guys, and I will see you guys again soon. Cheers.